Thank you, and please be seated. Good morning and howdy, everybody. I am Roderick Pettigrew, the inaugural Dean of the School of Engineering Medicine and CEO of Engineering Health. It is my great honor to welcome you to the inaugural commencement of the Texas A&M University School of Engineering Medicine. Today, we are making history. We will graduate members of the world's first generation of physicianeers, a new innovative healthcare leader poised to help transform healthcare and well-being for us all. Becoming a physicianeer is an arduous task. EnMed engineers earn a medical doctorate and a master's in engineering innovation simultaneously in 4 years, and they are required to innovate a solution to a healthcare challenge. We and many others from around this great nation, and I can tell you I've heard from many others from around this great nation, who salute these graduates for their outstanding accomplishments. Being that this is an historical event, there are few more elements to this ceremony than you may be expecting. I hope that you will revel in this celebration, and we do want it to be that, a celebration, and that you'll sit back for a great event and that you'll enjoy this fantastic air conditioning. As we start our celebration today, there are many who have joined us and our students on this trailblazing journey, and I would like to take a little time to recognize those in attendance. On the stage today, we have a number of officials representing the community of scholars of Texas A&M University and Houston Methodist Hospital. They are behind me, and you'll hear from several of them. I will also take a moment to recognize those who have provided the philanthropic support that's necessary when you start something new, like this initiative, this program, and now a school. We need support to develop physicianeers. So these individuals that I will recognize, I'd ask you to hold your applause until they have all been introduced, and then we can express our appreciation to them. Judy Allen and Steve Ash were here yesterday for our celebratory Nobel laureate and inventor of the Internet colloquium, and I'll mention that again briefly. And today joining us are Lou and Mark Hauser, classes of 83 and 85, Randy Shepard, class of 71, and representing Denise Byington, who is deceased, is her sister. And her sister also brings greetings from Denise Byington's daughter, Caroline Garcia, and from Denise Byington's parents, Al and Margot Byington. Al is a class of 68. Carrie Byington is fitting that we recognize her, as she was also Dean of Medicine in Bryan during the early phases of EnMed. So our round of applause, please, for our contributors. And there are two donors that I actually see sitting here. The others I didn't see are Craig Brown and Sue Smith. And we want to express our appreciation to them as donors to both Texas A&M and Houston Methodist. En route, joining us today is the Honorable Gordon England, former Secretary of the Navy, Secretary of Defense, and Chairman of the National Academy of Engineering. And I also want to recognize, if we could have the slide of our colloquy participants yesterday, that we indeed were joined by 5 Nobel laureates and the President Emerita of MIT yesterday, where we had a rousing colloquy, discussion, interchange with them about this core concept of physicianeering and the potential that it has to transform healthcare and how we are leading the nation in this effort. I have the other slide that shows that's from the colloquy itself. Additionally, we are joined by faculty and university administrators who have instructed, advised, and counseled EnMed graduates. Will the EnMed faculty and administrators please stand and be recognized? And we also have my dean colleagues representing engineering and medicine, Doctors Hogan and Ware. Okay. Thank you. I would like to personally recognize Dr. Leslie Day, Director of Education and Instructional Innovation for the School of Engineering Medicine, who will announce each graduate. Dr. Day. And Dr. Timothy Boone, Associate Dean and Chief Education Officer for Houston Methodist Academic Institute, who will administer the oath of Hippocrates. Also on stage with us today is Jason Wisnat from the Association Board of Directors, who will officially induct our students into the Association of Former Students later in the ceremony. And of course, none of this would be possible without the love and support of those who have helped contribute to getting our graduates to this point. Would the parents, siblings, grandparents, and graduates rise as able and remain standing to be acknowledged? All the parents and relatives. Remain standing. Next, with the spouses, the significant others, and any children, rise and remain standing. Yes. Now I want the remain standing. I want the graduates to look around at the love and support of those standing, and I want you to join me in rising as able to give them a round of applause, a wave and a thanks, and a spiritual hug even, for all they've done to help you reach this moment. Thank you, parents. Thank you, and be seated, please. Now I would like to introduce newly captain Kenneth Sims, soon to be a physicianeer in just a few minutes, Captain Sims, who will lead us in a moment of reflection.
Thank you, Dr. Pettigrew. Please join me for a time of prayer, self-reflection, or appreciation. We come together today with gratitude, having met the challenges, attained the knowledge, gained the experience, having achieved our goal to graduate from Texas A&M University School of Engineering Medicine. Today is not just about our individual sense of self or achievement, but also about all that has brought us to this time and place. We give thanks for all the friends, families, professors, mentors who've surrounded us with love and support and given their entire selves in teaching us and showing us what it means to be an Aggie, a physician, and a lifelong learner. As these degrees are conferred, let all gathered here today leave this place resolved to honor the values we have come to know in the Aggie spirit, such as excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service. May we go out today to work alongside our fellow Aggies and colleagues, fellow physicianeers, citizens, to serve the world and our community and the nation for the greater good of all. Amen.
Thank you, Captain Sims. Several years ago, the leadership at Texas A&M University, in collaboration with Houston Methodist, identified a new opportunity for medical education to respond to the challenges of the 21st century. They saw that while many physicians are natural innovators, few programs exist in medical schools to give physicians in training the skills and experience to harness this natural aptitude for inventiveness to benefit the world. In response to this observation, the EnMed curriculum was developed in collaboration among the Texas A&M University Colleges of Engineering and Medicine with Houston Methodist, subsequently giving rise to the Texas A&M University School of Engineering Medicine, continuing the collaboration with Houston Methodist. The core concept is to converge engineering and medicine within each student's intellect and train students to see healthcare obstacles as opportunities to transform, to harness their skills and their imaginations to innovate and implement cutting-edge solutions to these problems. Quick word to the parents. You have helped develop the interests and talents of these remarkable students. You have walked alongside them in the challenging academic and professional paths that they have chosen. Yesterday, examples of their new skills were on display. Their technologies summarized in an innovation poster session. And these innovations are as useful as they are path-breaking. I want you to know that one of them was cited by a Nobel laureate publicly for its inventiveness and its usefulness, and what a difference it would make. It is important to note that they have done this while meeting all of the regular clinical rotation and testing requirements of traditional medical students and completing the requirements for a Master's of Engineering, all at the same time, doing these innovations, those 2 degrees simultaneously. As we celebrate today, I think it is important to say that we are ushering in a new era in medicine. I think that'll become clear over the course of this commencement. As a final note, in keeping with who we are, I also bring you formal greetings and congratulations from both the National Academy of Engineering and the National Academy of Medicine, and a third national figure that you'll all recognize by way of video. From the National Academy of Engineering, President John Anderson writes, and by the way, both of these Academy presidents have sent each of you a letter applauding and saluting what you have accomplished and what the school has accomplished. John Anderson from the National Academy of Engineering writes, your integrated training in medicine and engineering innovation is unique in the world of medical education. You now have the tools to meet the immense challenges of the 21st century and advance human health like no one before you. This letter is presented to each of you, and I see you looking at these letters now. These are suitable for framing, and we've done that. It's on display. Victor Zhao, president of the National Academy of Medicine, writes to you, to serve our patients now and in the future, physicians must be anticipatory, forward-looking, and continually learning, crafting sustainable solutions to current healthcare problems, predicting and preparing for problems that will emerge requires a transdisciplinary approach. Your simultaneous training in medicine and engineering puts you at the vanguard of this effort. And if I could have the lights down and the video on, please. An additional salute by video from someone who needs no introduction.
Hello and greetings to the inaugural graduates of the Texas A&M University School of Engineering Medicine. I am delighted to learn that in collaboration with Houston Methodist Hospital, you have completed the unique EnMed curriculum and today become the world's first physicianeers. I have also learned from my former colleague and dear friend, I call him Rod, that you have been purposely trained to be medical problem solvers. And we know that the world needs what you now bring to the healthcare ecosystem. We need those who have a converged understanding of the biology and engineering at play in health and disease. We need those equipped with the tools to bring a fresh perspective to our challenges, both large and routine. We need physicianeers. We need you. If ever this was in doubt, it was demonstrated clearly by the COVID pandemic. The rapid response with multiple effective vaccines and diagnostics, including point-of-care tests, are dramatic examples of the benefit of converging engineering and medicine. The vaccines required engineered lipid nanoparticles to deliver mRNA molecules to their targets, and the mRNA had to be engineered to be stable. The development and production of new home-based tests required engineering to make these practical and widely available. This, in fact, was led by the NIH Institute that Rod founded, NIBIB, currently led by Rod's successor, Bruce Kromberg. It leveraged the national network of converged engineering and medical teams, the National Point-of-Care Technologies Research Network, which was begun during Dr. Pettigrew's tenure. Clearly today, the world looks to transdisciplinary teams and next-generation thinkers and innovators like yourselves to help bring more impactful advances to us all. You will make a big difference in your areas of interest, and the world will be the beneficiary. My very best wishes to each and every one of you. I hear that my former director, Francis Collins, is with you this morning, and so I know you will both be inspired and entertained. I wish you all the best to the graduates, to your parents, and all attendees. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci. And thanks to Dr. Marino for his assistance in editing the video. In a moment, I would like to welcome Mr. Jay Graham, class of '92, to bring greetings from the Texas A&M University System Board of Regents. He will be followed by greetings and remarks from our fearless Texas A&M University System Chancellor John Sharp, class of '72. I'm so grateful that Chancellor Sharp could join us in person today. The Chancellor, along with President Banks, provided the original vision for creating EnMed. Thank you, Chancellor, for joining us on this truly historic occasion. Following the Chancellor, we will hear from Dr. Mark Boone, who will bring greetings and remarks on behalf of our partner in this operation, our collaborator, Houston Methodist Hospital. Regent Graham.
Thank you, Dr. Pettigrew. You know, I usually do this in College Station in front of about 12,000 people, and I wing it, and it's real easy. You guys have me so intimidated right now. You're going to hear my voice shake and everything else. Before I get to the script, because I'm not going to wing it, because I'm so nervous, I was walking the halls of the hospital last spring. My mom, there with cancer, and I'd see you guys walk around and the hope you would give me. Not for her, but for the future and what you're going to do. I thank you. I thank you a lot for that. So I'm honored to be here today and bring greetings and congratulations on the behalf of the Board of Regents of the Texas A&M University System. Personally, I'm so pleased to take part in this historic event and feel privileged today to participate in the ceremony as the very first class of EnMed graduates walk the stage. The Texas A&M system and its members have been dedicated to improving the lives of Texans through teaching, research, and service for more than 140 years. But you, the first class of EnMed graduates, will take the tradition of service to a whole new level. It is without hyperbole that I say that I think each of you will make the world a much better place. You are among the brightest of scholars, but more importantly, you are clearly driven by an inner calling to have a positive impact to the world through medicine and innovation. Further, I can say without reservation that all of us connected to the Texas A&M system are lucky to have you among our ranks. So on behalf of the Board of Regents, let me be the first to say congratulations. But let me also thank you in advance, as I said earlier, for everything you will do in the future. I wish you good fortune, happiness, and success, and want to say God bless to every one of you. And with that, I'll give it to Chancellor Sharp, who won't have a problem winging it. So.
Howdy. So I called Rod Pettigrew and said, boy, Rod, this is pretty exciting. I really want to write a good speech. What do you want me to talk about? And without hesitation, he said, I want you to talk about 2 minutes. And that's what I said. So I get that. I have to tell you one story, though. Jay Graham and I were visiting with some of these students on one of our visits here, and we were talking to 2 of them, and it became apparent pretty quick that these 2 had never made a B in their entire life. from first grade on. And so as Jay and I left, we went, hell, we got that in common with them. we came close a couple of times, but we never quite did it. But it's not with, it is so, we're so happy to be here to talk about this first class for EnMed, but it's not just the first class for EnMed. This is the first class of physicianeers on planet Earth. It is no secret that universities come here once a week trying to figure out how to duplicate what we have here. And so we're so proud to see the vision and to see it come to fruition. 100% of this class has secured a residency in his or her area of interest. They're going to places like Yale, Duke, Mayo Clinic, Washington University, and St. Louis. It is an amazing group of young men and women. And I want to thank President Banks for coming up with this vision when she was the Dean of Engineering. My only instructions to her was, said, okay, Banks, you got the best hospital in the state of Texas called Methodist. It is top 10 in the nation, Methodist. Figure out a way to marry Mark Boone and Methodist, and that's the only instructions I gave her. And she came up with this brilliant idea. But especially thanks to the regents, to Jay Graham especially, who is here and has taken a really strong interest in this, to Chairman Bill Mahomes as well. Bill was on the original part of this. He couldn't be here because of family commitments. We have a lot of thanks to him. The Brown Foundation, Craig and Sue, thank you for adopting so many of these youngsters, and as you do all over Texas A&M. But special thanks to Mark Boone and the good people at Methodist Hospital for helping make this a reality, and we think this is just the very beginning of this relationship. But a really special thanks to Rod Pettigrew for his inspiring and visionary leadership and hard work in bringing this to pass. I have never seen anybody in academia with so many contacts all over planet Earth. Yesterday, there were 5 Nobel laureates here drinking coffee and talking to Mark about EnMed. He has unbelievable contacts all over the place, and we're so grateful to have him. A special thanks to the faculty and staff of this program. You're obviously brilliant too, and we're so thankful that you chose this place at this point in your career. But especially a thanks to the graduates for having the courage to take on an academic challenge that maybe you didn't know exactly what it was when you first got here, and in the spirit of service that's driven you to choose EnMed. I cannot wait to see what happens. As I looked a while ago on these faces here, there's somebody here that's going to invent a new liver. What is going to happen from this first class is going to be world-changing, just as this institution and this school is world-changing. And so it's really exciting to look at y'all and to just imagine what you are going to be and what you're going to do to change the world. So on behalf of everybody at the Texas A&M University system, thank all of you for the roles that you played in one of the great and unique medical schools on planet Earth. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Mark Boom. I'm the president and CEO of Houston Methodist, and it is an absolute delight to be here today. I've been looking forward to this day really for 4 years, and we are so proud of each of you here today that we get to celebrate the first class of the EnMed program. On behalf of our board, all of our leadership, and especially our faculty, welcome, congratulations. And I want you to know how proud we are of each of you. I want to thank Chancellor Sharp. Thank you for that vision. My wife's going to be interested that we're now married, Kathy and I, but I remember well very early meetings of the vision of getting this done, and us saying, well, heck yes, we want to do that. That's such a compelling vision. And our teams that put that together, Dr. Pettigrew, thank you so much for your vision and expertise, and I'll echo your connections are just amazing and legendary throughout the world, and thank you for that. We value this collaboration tremendously. We can't wait to see how it grows and expands. And you're the first of countless classes that will come through, but you'll always be first, which is a very, very cool thing. At Houston Methodist, we talk about leading medicine. We also talk about our eye care values. We share that innovative love and that values-based approach with Texas A&M University, and that's one of the reasons why this partnership made so much sense. And we can't do that alone, we do that together, and connecting that partnership, I think, is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. During the time you were here, you helped us, and we saw that from Dr. Fauci, you helped us battle a pandemic. You had an education that was nothing like what you thought you were signing up for day one. I will tell you, this is a really cool weekend for me because I'm getting to celebrate with y'all today. I'm celebrating with my daughter on Monday, who's graduating medical school, so I know exactly what you went through. At least through her eyes and through some of yours. And we're so proud of you and what you did. You're called physicianeers, and I love that term. It also evokes another term called pioneer, and y'all were really the pioneers of this program, and it takes guts to show up and join a program that was on paper and the vision of a few people around this room. And so I want to thank you again for coming and doing that. We are just incredibly excited about what you will accomplish in the future. I also want to thank all of our incredible faculty. This wouldn't have been possible without the faculty, both here and many of the clinical faculty. So can we all give them another round of applause, because they really do deserve it. Finally, I want to thank many of our donors who are here. Craig Brown and Sue Smith were mentioned as well. I just visited with them just the other day, some of my favorite people, and so many others we've talked about today. Without you, we couldn't propel this program forward. And this program and the people that come through it have so much more to offer in the future. We're going to be watching what each of you do in your residency programs. I just have quite a few of you are staying at Houston Methodist, and we couldn't be happier about that either. So again, to all the families, friends, loved ones, congratulations, and thank you for the privilege of Houston Methodist being part of this program with each of you. Thank you for all you've done.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Graham, Chancellor Sharp, and Dr. Boone for your remarks, your support, your vision, and for what you will do in the future to help us all to deliver on this unique mission, vision, and promise. In order to celebrate the entire class of the School of Medicine, the School of Engineering Medicine 2023, we will hear from 3 remarkable EnMed, soon to be EnMed physicianeers who have been chosen by their class to represent them. In sequence and in alphabetical order, we'll hear from Pranav Gatanji, Amelia Koo, and Zachary Richards, just minutes away from being Dr. Gatanji, Dr. Koo, and Dr. Richards.
Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us to celebrate the first ever EnMed graduation ceremony. Because this is the first, don't be surprised if you find 15 different Google Forms in your inbox requesting your feedback on today's event. While I say that in jest, it really is a testament to how dedicated and caring our faculty and administration were in trying to make our experience in EnMed the best that it could be. So thank you for that. This program would really be nothing without you, and on behalf of the students, we thank you. To our friends and family, thank you for all the support you've provided throughout our journeys, both to becoming engineers and now doctors. It is an honor to have been chosen by my class to serve as vice president for the past 4 years and to now speak during this momentous occasion. Because our program was so unique, everyone would always ask me what my favorite thing about it was. I used to jokingly say that it was a sheer look of astonishment on people's faces whenever I told them I was getting an MD and a Master's of Engineering in just 4 years. When I really thought about it, though, my favorite thing about EnMed was always the people. For that reason, I thought the best way to go about today was to share a few of my favorite and fun memories from the past 4 years with all of you. So let's start in year one at our first community service event. We had a massive turnout. Everyone was super excited to volunteer for Habitat for Humanity on a chilly weekend morning. Well, everyone showed up for the event except for the people we were actually volunteering for. So while we waited for our fantastic community service chairs to figure out a new plan, we all hung out at a nearby playground. It was just like being at a recess with friends again, with all the fun we were having, all the good times, the laughs, the air stopped feeling so cold, and the wait felt like seconds. For obvious reasons, it was a bit more challenging to get together in 2020 and 2021, so we got a little bit creative. We tried our hand at hosting a virtual trivia night with our classmates and our faculty. As far as virtual social events go, it was actually pretty fun. We had the masterful Dr. Paolini, who ran our show, and we got to find out which students and faculty knew the most random knowledge. And I'm pretty sure at some point my team had no idea where we were in place. I'm pretty sure we were losing, but we just stopped caring at a certain point. We were just happy to see each other after such a long time. Now, that brings us to our final year, a year of stress, celebration, and so much free time that we have no idea what to do with it. It was impossible to pick just one moment from this year because we did so much, from going to Astros games, match day, starting a whole pickleball ring of fire. But really, though, we have all come a long way from those early days in EnMed where we would send patients to hospice during TBLs and pretend like we could solve every problem in medicine using machine learning. Class of 2023, I'm incredibly proud of us, and I'm excited to see what our futures hold. As we move on to the next chapter, I encourage you to remain in touch with each other, start making lasting memories with your new cohorts, and always try to find something fun, even in the toughest times of residency. To the classes that follow, my biggest piece of advice is to take advantage of the small class size that EnMed offers, and get to know your cohort and your faculty on a personal level. By doing so, the 24 others that started out as just my classmates have since become great friends that I know I can rely on now and forever. I wish I had time to share with you 24 individual memories with each and every one of them, but unfortunately my time has come to an end. But I want to thank you guys again for coming. We did it. Let's go make new memories.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amelia. I'm so excited to be standing here speaking to you today on this momentous occasion. And I was thinking about what I wanted to say, and any good English teacher will tell you that a good speech has to have a good theme, right? But none of us were ever really that good at English, or else we wouldn't be med students, right? But as I sat there thinking about what kind of themified or typified our class, and what makes me proud not just to be a medical student, but also to be an EnMed student, one word struck me, and that word is bravery. It was brave of all of us to choose to apply to medical school. It was brave of all of us to choose a new program. It was brave of us to put our belief in that new program just because we cared about engineering and its myriad applications to medicine. And look how far physicianeering has gotten us. But it's a good thing we're brave too, because it takes an inordinate amount of guts to be a medical student, and that IBS pun is entirely intended. For someone who is admittedly a very, very fearful person, med school has basically just been one long fear train that begins with the meticulous dissection of a human body and continues with being grilled on the spot with questions during ICU rounds and running to terrifying code blues and scrubbing out on the most heart-wrenching OR cases you've ever seen. I remember it was my first or my second rotation, I think. I scrubbed in on this really, really devastating case that involved a pregnant woman. I still remember every detail of that case and how hard it was to watch and the way I brought it home with me. It's really stayed with me. Bravery, and a lot of it. That's what's required to have a life in medicine. The nice thing about being brave, though, is that you don't have to be it alone. The memory of the fear I felt, doing the first cut in anatomy or studying for my first anatomy test, totally eclipsed by the fond memories I have of studying in slowpokes with Sanjana and Lauren and Mason. The adrenaline and fear of those first codes, that's a memory I share with Brendan, and I'll share that with him for the rest of my life. And that deeply affecting OR case with the pregnant woman, I was scrubbed in on that case with Priya. And afterwards, we came out and we were totally in shock. And we just wordlessly embraced outside of the OR. And the attending came out and he kind of put his hand around our shoulders and he said, someone's got to do this stuff, and that someone is us. And standing in that dun hallway in my silly bouffant cap and my shoe covers and covered in who knows what bodily fluid, I think I learned the most important lesson of medical school, which is that the real challenge of life as a physician is not just bravery, but it's learning to balance that bravery and that grit in equal measure with softness. And that closeness and togetherness and tenderness is just as important as being brave. But I look around this room now and I see my classmates and I feel how loved I am by them and how much I love them. And I know that we are already learning that balance. So I think that's the bravest thing of all. So brave, in fact, that you might call it valiant. So it's very exciting to me to have a vocation and to live a life that demands this kind of unconditional bravery and also radical softness from us. And I feel so privileged to have been able to share that life with the 24 of you. So thank you so much and congratulations. Next, we're going to hear from soon-to-be Dr. Zachary Richards, so please give him a hand.
Well, howdy and good morning. Friends and family of EnMed's inaugural class, we're so glad you're here to share this day with us. Now I'm curious, show of hands from the crowd, who has asked one of these graduates for medical advice? Look at all those hands. We get to bill for that now. No, but really, thank you. This is obviously a huge day for us, but this day is really for each and all who stood with us for the past 20 plus years of school. And to the class, I hope you can feel the pride, love, and excitement for what we've done and for what's to come. We walked in here as medical students, and we walk out of here as masters of engineering and doctors of medicine. For our families and friends, I don't need to tell you that you're graduates driven, brilliant, and compassionate, but you'd be so proud if you could see them through a colleague's eyes. We watch each other grow from shaky in anatomy lab to steady in surgery, from memorizing disease to curing it, and from idea people to innovators. Each of us could easily come up here and tell you a story about every member of this graduating class. That's 462 stories. I did the math. We don't really have the time, but 462 stories of laughing, learning, community serving, trusting, designing, business planning, eating, traveling, gaming, Astros watching, eating, pickleballing, wedding going, birth celebrating, and eating. Thank you for sharing your person with us for 4 years of good times and great meals. Of course, I have to spotlight our faculty and staff. They're really the heart, soul, and spirit of EnMed, and you role model excellence, and you know how to create a great community and great doctors. And it's easy to forget whenever you're in it that this is the first time a 4-year MD and Master's in Engineering has ever been offered. Not just at Texas A&M, not just the state, the country, but really the world. And our faculty didn't have a blueprint. They were the blueprint. You executed for the inaugural class when it mattered the most, so thank you. And where you learn medicine matters. So thank you, Houston Methodist, for living up to your reputation as a world-class leader in medicine and an amazing community for medical education. You took us into your family, and we'll always look back on our time here with the warmest pride. And more than a few EnMed students are thrilled to be your first EnMed trained residents this year. So finally, most of all, thank you, EnMed class of 2023, for being my fellow leapers of faith, my colleagues, and above all, my dear friends. So I already miss y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, EnMed physicianeers to be. You were the first of a kind, and you're special to all of us. As we continue celebrating the inaugural class, I have a very, very special pleasure now to introduce someone who is not only an iconic scientist in the field of medicine and health, but also an inspiration and a person who I have both tremendous respect for and also affection. At any point in time and in history, there are a few people who are really, truly iconic. Our commencement speaker is one of them. He led the project that mapped the human genome. This was a monumental project, tremendous importance to us now and for the rest of humanity. He completed that project, as I remember correctly, Francis, I was just doing some quick math here. I think it was 20 years ago this year.
That's right.
He also led the world's largest health research agency, the National Institutes of Health. And he did so with an unprecedented tenure through 3 successive administrations as a presidential appointee in each of those. It's never happened before. Subsequently, he was science advisor to the president after he retired from being the director of the NIH, and now serves as a special advisor to the president. He was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He is a National Medal of Science laureate. He is Francis Sellers Collins.
Howdy. Howdy. I just learned that. Roderick, thank you for an incredibly kind and generous introduction. It has been wonderful being your friend for more than 20 years. I have the chance to learn from you about so many things, to see the way in which you created this remarkable part of NIH, the National Institute of Bioimaging and Bioengineering, and now how you, with some help from a few other people, have created this amazing program called EnMed. My wife, Diane, who's here with me, are also happy to call you a friend. And my physician daughter has occasionally been mentored by you. So we are, in many ways, really grateful to have known you and to have been able to be here in this very special occasion. I should say, before going any further, congratulations to the graduates. That's why we're all here. Class of 2023. And yes, congratulations to the parents. I'm glad they were also recognized. Parents, you've arrived at the point where it's your turn to become a problem to your children. Don't waste the opportunity. This is a unique graduation, as has already been mentioned. The unique nature of EnMed, the first school to combine Master's in Engineering and MD in a 4-year program, and you were the first class. So yes, you are pioneers in all kinds of dramatic ways, and it did take courage, as has already been spoken by the three students who were just wonderful up here a few minutes ago. None of them said the other two words that maybe you might have thought to yourself a couple of times represented your experience. Those two words called guinea pigs. But I wonder if once in a while, when things didn't quite go as smoothly as you might have wanted, you felt a little bit like, okay, somebody has to do this. I talked to Zach and I talked to Pranav, and I got a little sense of this, that, yeah, there were times, maybe that particular visit to Habitat for Humanity that didn't quite happen. And I gather you had a response when those things went that way. At least this is what I heard from Pranav. We're in it. Let's just figure it out. And you did, with your wonderful colleagues and supervisors of the faculty. So you built the plane while you were flying it. And as Zach said, you became chronic leapers of faith, because that's what it took to take on this new program in a way that had never been done before on planet Earth. And now those classes that follow you are going to be in your debt, and they should be sending you flowers and chocolates all the time because you figured out ways to make this program go really, really smoothly, and it was not always that way for your experience. On top of everything else, it wasn't enough that you had to have this first in human experience, engineering, medicine training program that hadn't been done like this before. COVID had to come along. And I know that terribly disrupted your preclinical years, kept you from having those experiences together that otherwise I know you would have wanted to have that opportunity to get to know each other, to work together collectively in ways that didn't involve Zoom calls. But you all are survivors, and it probably helped that you're engineers. What do engineers do? You know, what's an optimist? An optimist says the glass is half full. The pessimist says the glass is half empty. The engineer says the glass is twice as big as it needs to be. Think about it. That's you guys. So yesterday you had this amazing colloquy with the Nobel laureates. I was able to be here too and listen to that. You got about 5 commencement addresses during the course of those 2 hours. And you got a bunch more wonderful comments already here from the podium this morning. So what am I supposed to say that's meaningful to you? Well, I'm thinking back at commencements that I've attended, and I honestly can say I don't remember much of what was said, with one exception, and that was my high school graduation. I was 16. If you looked at my senior class book, my senior annual, you'd find my picture. And underneath it would say, what is this person going to do? And what I wrote there was, I'm going to be, wait for it, an aeronautical engineer. Didn't quite turn out that way. That's one of the lessons here is don't expect that your path is going to be linear, because it won't be. And mine certainly wasn't. But what did I learn from that particular high school address? Well, it had 3 questions that got posed to me and the other graduates. And I think they are 3 questions at any commencement that kind of fit. So I'm going to pose them to you. First, what is going to be your life's work? Well, I think you've already charted a pretty good course on this. If I was talking to people who hadn't quite figured out their training plan, it would be different. But you've positioned yourselves to advance the cause of medicine and find new ways to reduce suffering. Your invention projects set the tone for your future contributions, identifying a need and then inventing something that meets that need. Not something you made up out of your head, but something where you could see this is really going to make a difference. You aim not just to extend lifespan, although that's a good thing, but also health span. Give people the maximum opportunity to experience life as you would want to. You're clearly pretty good at this. It was mentioned earlier, 100% of you matched for residencies. That's a big deal. Congratulations on that as well. So from my perch, having had the chance to lead the Human Genome Project for 15 years, and then to direct the National Institutes of Hope for 12 years, we need more of you. The Genome Project succeeded because of a lot of things, but a lot of it was technology. When we started out, it was pretty tough to sequence 100 base pairs in an afternoon and get the answer right. In order to sequence the human genome, we had to sequence 1,000 base pairs every second, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day for about a year and a half. That was so completely out of range when the project was announced as to make most people deeply skeptical about whether this was a good idea or not. And yet it happened. And a lot of that was engineers who came up with new strategies about how to develop and apply that technology. And what we came out of that, and now, of course, you can sequence a genome for about $500, maybe it's headed down towards 100. Remember that first genome cost $3 billion. That's not a bad improvement there. People say you can't get faster, better, and cheaper. You've got to get 2 out of 3. For DNA sequence, we got 3 out of 3. You can do it in 24 hours. It costs orders of magnitude, many orders of magnitude less. And it's cheap, vastly cheaper, and rapid indeed. So faster, better, and accurate too. So in a way, the talk about convergence, trying to bring disciplines together instead of having these silos where there are biologists over here and there's engineers over there and computer scientists over here and ethicists over there. The Genome Project got an early start on knocking down those barriers. We were all about convergence from the beginning. And that has continued. Look right now at what's happened in terms of the technology that's driving medicine. DNA sequencing continuing to be a big part of that, and not just DNA, but RNA. How did we figure out how those new variants of COVID were appearing? It was sequencing. If all the same technology that came out of the Genome Project. Stem cells, CRISPR, gene editing, single cell biology, asking one cell, what are you doing, and getting an answer. That was unthinkable 5 years ago. All of this technology, all built upon the combination of people who understand life, who care about medicine, and who know how to make things work from an engineering perspective. And I could go on to artificial intelligence as another remarkable opportunity that needs to be thought through carefully, but where I think the payoff for life science is going to be dramatic and is mostly lies ahead of us. An example I'd love to point to, talking about the importance of engineering, is the BRAIN Initiative. When I was NIH director, we had the chance to sort of pull together all of the big thinkers and say, is it time to actually figure out how those 86 billion neurons between your ears do what they do? And not just one cell at a time, but how do those circuits work? We will never get there if we don't have technologies that can actually assess those circuits in real time. So we put together this initiative. President Obama was a big supporter of getting it off the ground. And over time, it's now grown to several hundred investigators who work together in a team enterprise to try to sort out those questions and get answers to things like Alzheimer's disease and autism and schizophrenia and epilepsy and all those issues that relate to the brain where we still don't have a good enough understanding of what's normal in order to understand disease. The last couple of rounds of grant application opportunities for people to work on the BRAIN Initiative, sort of look through who applied and who got funded. More than half of the new funded investigators are engineers. They're not neuroscientists. Well, they're becoming neuroscientists, but their training is engineering. That's exactly the right thing to happen right now. So you're so well positioned to jump into this. My own research lab at NIH works on diabetes, type 2 diabetes. We know that a lot of the problem there is in the beta cells of the pancreas, which make insulin. But you can't biopsy that in living persons. That would be wildly dangerous. So we've been sort of stuck. How do we understand what's going on in diabetes in those beta cells? Well, now, with stem cells, we can take a skin biopsy or a blood sample from somebody with diabetes, and we can convince that cell to become pluripotent, and then, in a way that's been worked out over several years, put that stem cell into the appropriate mix of various signals, various cocktails, and over 32 days, it becomes a beta cell. From that person, it's still that person that you're studying, except it's gone through a very different pathway, and it turns out it's pretty faithfully representing what's going on inside of them. Now, my lab wants to understand the genetic variations that affect that process. If I ask a graduate student to do a 32-day protocol about 100 times in the course of their career, they're going to leave the lab. And they won't do it the same way every time. And so you'll have all kinds of problems with irreproducibility. So what do you need? You need an engineer. So working with the New York Stem Cell Foundation, this whole process is now automated. And we can do 96 of these at a time in exactly the same way every time. 24 hours, the robots are running, and what comes out of that is just dramatically providing insights into diabetes. Again, if we didn't have engineers, we would be nowhere on this. Just a few examples. So in terms of this first question, what is going to be your life's work? I think you have very much identified the path that you're on. A little bit of advice. You will get the chance at some point, after you get through some more medical training, to decide if you're going to be a scientific investigator, a researcher, and they're going to have to decide what problem to pick to work on. It's always kind of tempting to pick something that's pretty certain to give a result, to publication, because it's, just waiting to be taken to that next step. There's this foundation of information, there's something missing, I could add that. And that's a good thing to do. But if you get the chance, pick something that's hard and significant, because you're going to spend your life doing these things. You may as well do it in a way that has the maximum chance of pushing back the boundaries. Okay, have a backup project just in case the hard and significant one doesn't quite work, but don't be reluctant to take the risks. Work in teams, because that's how things go faster. Find good mentors. Faculty like it when they come to you, when you come to them and say, will you be my mentor? Not just my teacher for this course, but will you be my mentor? Will you stay in touch with me? Can I reach back to you in a year or two and get your advice? Use those mentors. They can help you a lot. And then be prepared to have your linear pathway completely blown to smithereens, as mine was, starting out as aeronautical engineering to chemistry to quantum mechanics to medicine to genetics. That's not a linear pathway. Do as Carolyn Bertozzi talked about yesterday. Watch for the buses that come by, buses being opportunities. And a door opens, think, well, maybe I'll catch that bus and see where it's going. Don't be shy to try that. Your career will be anything but linear. So that was question number one. Question 2 and 3 are going to be a little different. They may surprise you because we are all here being very professional. Question number 2 is, what role is love going to play in your life? Pretty important, isn't it? First, romantic love, that enduring fire. I saw those engagement party photos last night, so I gather this class is familiar with romantic love. Create space for that, nurture that. I'm truly lucky to have a soulmate for 30 years, sitting right over there. I wish that for you too. But Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, the author of The Little Prince, also wrote this: love does not consist in gazing at each other, but in looking outward together in the same direction. That is, if you have a soulmate, how do you figure out what to look outward and do together? That is part of the joy of having that kind of love relationship. And of course that extends to family. You heard Peter Agre in that wonderful video yesterday talking about his own regrets for maybe not having paid as much attention to his family, where his daughter was kind of disappointed in him, 8 years old, that he didn't show up for her performance. And he said, I had this grant I had to work on. And she said, Dad, if the mayor of Baltimore could come to the performance, why were you that busy? Okay, got him there. So family, make it a priority. I wish I could say I'd done that as well as I could and should, but it's a really important priority now. Friendships. Your group of 25 clearly have bonded together. We heard that from the 3 students who spoke. I heard about it a little bit in a phone call with Zach. I gather you like to go to Who's Cooking? I got it right? Who is H-U, by the way, so apparently this is a place where they serve food. And yes, I heard a bit about pickleball, and that's already come up a couple of times. Don't let that friendship fade as you scatter, because you are scattering now all over the place. This is something to value. These are some of the best friends you will ever make. I mean, look around. You will be communicating with each other 30 or 40 years from now, and maybe talking about today as part of your reflections. These are people you have bonded with, and that deserves the kind of attention that I know you'll give it. And then, as long as we're talking about love, the even more selfless kind of love, the agape that is talked about, that leads you to give to others with no explanation or expectation of return. The kind of thing that Craig Brown and Sue Smith are doing with themselves to give to this program. But even more, seeking out ways to help those in our world who are truly lost and neglected. I have a consuming passion right now about a way to find and cure the 2.5 million people in this country who are infected with a virus that is going to take their lives if we don't figure out a way to get to them. And that's called hepatitis C. And anybody who looks at this, I would challenge you to say it's okay and look away. When we have 2.5 million people who have this virus in their livers and who are therefore at risk of liver cirrhosis, liver failure, maybe a transplant if they're lucky enough to get one, liver cancer, and early death. And we have a cure. 1 pill a day, 12 weeks, no side effects, 98% cure. And those 2.5 million people are not getting it because of the way our healthcare system is designed and because they are largely marginalized people. I don't see how you could look at that situation and not feel an obligation to do something. Things like that will come across your view. Don't get so caught up in whatever's happening around you that you don't notice those and don't figure out a way to help. Generosity of spirit seems to be in our country a bit in short supply right now. So I'm sorry to say, is truth and trust. I challenge you all to excel in those areas and to heed the recommendations from David Brooks, the author, in his book called The Road to Character. If you have one book to read when you have a little time, that would not be a bad place to start as you're at this juncture of moving from one phase to another. And one of the things he talks about in that book is the difference between resume virtues and eulogy virtues. We spend a lot of our time, especially early in career, trying to build our resumes. Look what I did. I got this degree. I published that paper. I won this award. And then think about what happens when you go to a funeral where somebody is being eulogized. They're probably not talking about the number of papers they published. It's another aspect of who you are and how you gave yourself to other people in an unselfish way. Let's all maybe collectively reflect on that a moment and ask whether we're making the choices that are most appropriate if you think about the eulogy virtues that we should perhaps even more seriously be thinking about. Which then brings me to question number 3. What role will spirituality play in your life? Uh-oh, not that one. Really, Dr. Collins? I know that can make some people squirm. As an atheist in graduate school, I would have objected to this being brought up in a commencement. But I'm a little different now. And are there any more important questions than is there a God? Does God care about me? It was in medical school I found my strict denial of anything spiritual started to feel cold and brittle and unsatisfying. I felt impoverished as an atheist to address the powerful experiences of a physician in training, especially as I face suffering, death, and dying almost every day. And so I felt I needed to start on a journey to understand whether belief could, in fact, be rational. I assumed it was not. And to my great surprise, I discovered that faith is actually much more rational than strict atheism. Reading C.S. Lewis and others led me to see that actually faith could be intellectually as well as emotionally fulfilling. And a lot of pointers to God, I discovered, actually come from science. There is something instead of nothing. There was a big bang where somehow the universe appeared out of nothing. The universe pays attention to natural laws that we describe in simple, beautiful mathematics, as if there must be a mind behind that. And those laws also have constants in them that have exactly the value they have to have for there to be anything interesting about the universe, the fine-tuning. You can't look at that and not be pretty stunned. So, as a result, after a couple of years of struggling, and greatly to my surprise, I became a Christian at age 27. It has greatly enriched my life experience. It's provided meaning where there wasn't meaning before, and comfort when I needed it. Even a new significance to scientific discovery as a glimpse of God's mind. I wrote about this in a book called The Language of God. If you're looking for other sources for the rationality of faith, I'd also point you to a book called The Reason for God by Tim Keller. Tim is my most important spiritual mentor and dear friend. And he died yesterday morning. After gaining an extra year of life from very cutting-edge cancer immunotherapy, he lost out ultimately to pancreatic cancer. So if you haven't already started to take a journey about exploring faith, you will find the need to do so at some point. Perhaps at some time of deep questioning, maybe of deep loss. Some of you will put off the question of God and decide to cram for exams at the end of life. But then you might miss out on some insights that can help you on life's road, and you might get hit with a pop quiz. So there you have the three questions: work, love, faith. Graduates, take stock right now of where you are, even as you stand at the threshold of these exciting next chapters. But I have one more bit of advice, a fourth point in a speech that was supposed to have just three. Physician ears, don't forget to have some fun. Don't be an Eeyore, at least not all the time. Pay attention to Hans Christian Andersen. Enjoy life. There's plenty of time to be dead. But I've found it's difficult to lecture about fun. So maybe, just maybe, we ought to have a little demonstration. Is there some technical assistance that might make this demonstration possible? Oh. Might Dr. Marino be able to assist me in this particular about to happen moment? Oh, well, what do you know? And just back it a little like that so I can tip it over. It's on. Is this on? That's on too. Okay, I'm appreciative that you're tolerant of this kind of a bit of silliness at the end of what was supposed to be a very serious commencement address. But this is a song just for you, kind of written for the occasion. And, oh, I do have to explain the guitar, by the way. You will notice this is not just any guitar. It has a double helix on the fretboard. I got to design this guitar. This is a Husson Dalton. And of course, the guitar has to have a name. We are at the 70th anniversary on April 25th of the publication of the paper in Nature that described the double helix, the authors being Watson and Crick. I didn't want to name this guitar Watson or Crick. This guitar is named for the scientist who actually did the experiments that revealed the double helix because of the X-ray crystallography that she did in order to provide that information which was then seen without her permission by Dr. Watson, leading to their conclusion, a correct conclusion about the double helix. So that was Rosalind Franklin. This is Rosalind. She's in the house. I'm gonna just move this over here. I can see it a little better. So, okay, here we go. Well, listen up, you people. Yes, you physician ears. You're here to graduate today. You made it through 4 years. I'm counting on your skills and dreams to find more healing clues. There's too much illness out there now. It makes me sing the blues. at your door. So come on, grads, won't you help me, please? Let's get it all together now and knock out disease. Come on, you can do that. Disease don't care if you're old or young. Disease don't care about your mother tongue. Disease don't care about your life's pursuit. You can wear a hoodie or a three-piece suit. So come on, people, won't you join me, please? Let's get it all together now and knock out disease. So it's pretty clear that we're all at risk for cancer and strokes and ruptured discs. But if you don't want to be left in the lurch, your very best hope is health research. Yeah? Disease ain't no match for what you can do. You've had the chance to learn it all from Dean Pettigrew. Some say we need inventors, and we have too few. I say right back to them, come meet these 22. So come on, grads, won't you help me, please? Let's get it all together now and knock out disease. So come on, grads, won't you help me? Let's get it all together now and knock out disease. All right. Congratulations, class of 2023.
Thanks to Francis and Rosalind. Oh, man, a momentous commencement address for an historic occasion. So inspirational. Thank you, Francis. Now, another moment that we've been all waiting for, the conferral of degrees and the inaugural hooding of the world's first physicianeers. The unique, one-of-a-kind engineering medicine hood represents today truly the heart of the EnMed program. The hood represents this collaboration between the School of Engineering Medicine and Houston Methodist Hospital with a color palette which reflects aspects of engineering medicine and the flagship Houston Methodist Hospital. I am pleased to ask Dr. Alan Sams, Interim Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at Texas A&M University, to come forward. Provost Sams, thank you. Provost Sams, it is my privilege to ask all degree candidates to rise as able. Okay. Dr. Sams, based upon the recommendation of the faculty of Texas A&M University and the School of Engineering Medicine, with concurrence of the deans from the College of Engineering and the School of Medicine, I certify that these candidates have fulfilled all the academic requirements necessary for receiving their diplomas. I am honored to present them to you for the awarding of their respective graduate and professional degrees.
Thank you, Dean Pettigrew. Are you ready? Okay. Upon the recommendation of the faculties of this university and by the authority vested in Texas A&M University, by the state of Texas, and the Board of Regents of the Texas A&M University system, I hereby confer upon you individually the graduate and professional degrees to which you are entitled with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Let me be the first to congratulate the inaugural EnMed graduates. Please be seated. It's now time for the roll call of graduates. I would like to invite Dr. Leslie Day to come forward to announce the names of the graduates.
Thank you, Dr. Sams. I have the absolute honor of calling graduates to the stage. I will call the students' names, their residency, and who will have the honor of hooding them today. I ask that the audience please hold your applause until I've finished announcing all this information. Graduates, after you've accepted your diploma and greet Dr. Pettigrew, you get to cross the stage and be hooded. You then get to pause for a memorial photo, and then please return to your seat. Will the candidates for the master's and doctoral degrees of Texas A&M University please rise as able and come forward as I call your name? Muath Adloni, Dr. Adloni, will do a residency in vascular surgery at the University of Rochester Strong Memorial. Dr. Adloni is being hooded by Dr. Michael Paolini. Priya Arunachalam. Dr. Arunachalam will do a residency in general surgery at Houston Methodist Hospital. Dr. Arunachalam is being hooded by Drs. Alexander Earnhardt and Naveen Arunachalam. Ramez Barsum. Dr. Barsum will do a residency in internal medicine at Mayo Clinic School of Graduate Medical Education. Dr. Barsum is being hooded by Drs. Akram Azmi and Iman Maximos. Darshal Mehalbai Choksi. Dr. Chotsky will do a residency in internal medicine at the University of Texas at Austin Dell Medical School. Dr. Chotsky is being hooded by Dr. Michael Paolini. Brendan Jude D'Souza. Dr. D'Souza will do a medicine preliminary year at University of Texas Medical School, followed by a residency in diagnostic radiology at Houston Methodist Hospital. Dr. D'Souza is being hooded by Dr. Michael Paolini. Mason Douglas Dana. Dr. Dana will do a residency in family medicine at Texas A&M Bryan College Station. Dr. Dana is being hooded by Dr. Michael Paolini. Antara Dattagupta. Dr. Dattagupta will do a residency in internal medicine at Barnes Jewish Hospital. Dr. Dattagupta is being hooded by Dr. Akhil Dattagupta. Lauren Ann Fitzgerald, graduating with honors. Dr. Fitzgerald will do a medicine preliminary year at the University of Texas Medical School, followed by a residency in dermatology at the University of Texas Medical School. Dr. Fitzgerald is being hooded by Dr. Michael Paolini. Pranav Venkata Gadhangi. Dr. Gadhangi will do a residency in orthopedic surgery at the University of Toledo. Dr. Gadhangi is being hooded by Dr. Ranvadra Gadhangi and Christina Gadhangi, Esquire. Evan Isho George. Dr. George will do a residency in family medicine at the University of Texas Medical School. Dr. George is being hooded by Tina George. Amelia Shenyu Koo. Dr. Koo will do a residency in internal medicine at Yale New Haven Hospital. Dr. Koo is being hooded by Dr. Amanda Koo. Drew Levy. Dr. Levy will do a residency in internal medicine at Houston Methodist Hospital. Dr. Levy is being hooded by Dr. Marietta Kluving. Wesley Lim. Dr. Lim will do a medicine transitional year at HCA Houston Healthcare University of Houston, followed by a residency in interventional radiology integrated at the University of Chicago Medical Center. Dr. Lim is being hooded by Dr. Jacqueline Lim. Peter Kinhan Lin. Dr. Lin will do a residency in anesthesiology at the University of New Mexico School of Medicine. Dr. Lin is being hooded by Dr. Deborah Lee. Darius Paul Mrugala. Dr. Mrugala will do a medicine preliminary at HCA Medical Center Healthcare. Dr. Mrugala is being hooded by Dr. Michael Paolini. Nicholas Francis Alexander Mundo. Dr. Mundo will do a residency in family medicine at John Peter Smith Hospital. Dr. Mundo is being hooded by Dr. Thomas Peterson and Dr. Victoria Mundo. Ryan Wynn. Dr. Wynn will do a residency in neurology at Mayo Clinic School of Graduate Medical Education. Dr. Wynn is being hooded by Dr. Michael Paolini. Ashmi Patel. Dr. Patel will do a residency in internal medicine at Houston Methodist Hospital. Dr. Patel is being hooded by Dr. Mrunal Shah. Zachary Isom Richards, graduating with honors. Dr. Richards will do a medicine preliminary year at the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics, followed by a residency in ophthalmology at the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics. Dr. Richards is being hooded by Dr. Michael Paolini. Abigail Angelina Roth. Dr. Roth will do a residency in pathology at Duke University Medical Center. Dr. Roth is being hooded by Dr. Maria Grabow. Robert Kenneth Sims, promoting to the rank of captain in the U.S. Army. Dr. Sims will do a residency in otolaryngology, head and neck surgery at Tripler Army Medical Center. Dr. Sims is being hooded by Dr. Georgia Shea. Frederick Xiao Chung Wong. Dr. Wong will do a residency in internal medicine at Houston Methodist Hospital. Dr. Wong is being hooded by Dr. Ming Hai Wong and Dr. Yi Ching Chen. Please join me in congratulating our graduates of 2023 physician-ears. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce Dr. Timothy Boone to deliver the Hippocratic Oath.
Don't sit down. Congratulations, class of 23. I'd ask you to stand again. If you turn to page 9 in your program. I'd also like to ask any physicians in the audience, clinicians, please stand, take our oath. Thank you. It's my honor to have you follow with me, read with me as we read the Hippocratic Oath. I solemnly pledge to consecrate my life to the service of humanity. I will practice medicine with conscience and dignity. The health and life of my patient will be my first consideration. I will hold in confidence all that my patient confides in me. I will maintain the honor and the noble traditions of the medical profession. I will give respect and gratitude to my deserving teachers. My colleagues will be as my family. I will not permit personal considerations to interfere with my duty to my patients.
I will not permit personal considerations to interfere with my duty to my patients.
I will maintain the utmost respect for human life.
I will maintain the utmost respect for human life.
Even under threat, I will not use my knowledge contrary to the laws of humanity.
Even under threat, I will not use my knowledge contrary to the laws of humanity.
These promises I make freely and upon my honor.
These promises I make freely and upon my honor.
I'd like to personally congratulate you and offer your official induction now to the Association of Former Students. Please welcome Dr. Jason Wisnat, Director of Communications for the association. You may be seated.
This is almost over. We know you all want to celebrate with your families, and this is a wonderful day to be here, and I'm thoroughly thrilled to be referred to as a doctor. It's the first time that's happened, so this is a momentous day. In addition to the fact that I can tell my kids, Dr. Francis Collins showed up to hear me speak today. So I want to personally congratulate you and offer your official induction to the Association of Former Students. And as we do so, before doing that, I want to thank Regent Graham, Chancellor Sharp, Provost Sams, Dean Pettigrew for allowing us to be present for this momentous celebration. And it is indeed a celebration. And on behalf of the Association of Former Students and our Worldwide Aggie Network, congratulations to each of you. In a moment, you'll officially join the ranks of our former students. And when you do, you will continue the 144-year tradition of service and support established and continued by generations of Aggies who came before you. Created by our first students, former students in 1879 and nurtured by almost 575,000 Aggies over the past century and a half, the Association of Former Students today annually provides critical and tangible financial support to our university, which is unmatched and unrivaled by any other alumni organization in the world. Today, we welcome you as members of the premier alumni association in the country. Will our newest former students please rise as you are able? The association that you inherit today was founded and exists to promote the interests and welfare of Texas A&M and to perpetuate the ties of camaraderie formed during university days. It is now my distinct privilege to officially induct you and welcome you into the Association of Former Students of Texas A&M University. Now, I know not all of you may have Aggie rings, but one of the ways that we signify this important transition is for our graduates to take their Aggie ring, turn it so the class year faces outward. If you have one, you can do that, declaring your achievement and allegiance to everyone you meet. Our Aggie rings remind us of the Texas A&M's core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, and also of the vast Aggie network to which we all proudly belong. If you do not have an Aggie ring today, rest assured you are and you always will be an Aggie and an important part of the worldwide Aggie network. If you don't have one, I do encourage you to get one because it is the most visible symbol of the worldwide Aggie network to which we all belong. But either way, remember that as Aggies, we never walk alone. Joining you on your path are your outstanding Texas A&M education, our shared core values, the Premier Alumni Association, and our worldwide Aggie network. Throughout your journey, wear the ring and display that diploma with pride as a proud Texas Aggie, and now officially as a former student of Texas A&M University. You may be seated. As I close here, as former students, future generations of Aggies will look to you for inspiration and leadership. Many of you are already supporting these Aggies through your gifts to the Association of Former Students, and for that, we thank you. I encourage you to continue that support annually, but even more, I encourage you to be an Aggie in the fullest sense of the word, wherever your path takes you next. Find a local A&M club, get involved. On April 21st, participate in your local muster, and if there isn't one, start one, whether it's with 2 people or with 2,000. Mentor a current Aggie or a future one. Be the best Aggie you can be and be the Aggie that your outstanding Texas A&M education and core values have prepared you to be. You can visit us also at the Clayton W. Williams Jr. Alumni Center or online at aggienetwork.com, and conveniently in the program, we are on page 12 and you can find some great resources there. 12th man, how did they do that? Aggies helping Aggies is our oldest Aggie tradition. Thank you for continuing this tradition by helping the Aggies who will follow in your footsteps just as others have helped you. Thank you for allowing me to join you today. Congratulations on becoming former students of Texas A&M. Gig 'em.
Thank you, Jason. And thank you all for celebrating this historic occasion with us today. I want to make a personal comment as we close. To the graduates, my sincere and truly heartfelt congratulations. I can't tell you how proud I was when I saw you file in this morning in your regalia, in your hats, knowing what this means and what it signifies and what we all went through to achieve this moment. You are trained and you are expected to be difference makers. You and I and all the faculty who have trained you will be forever bound in history. Let that soak in. As we conclude this ceremony, I ask the audience to please stay seated while the faculty and staff party exit. Graduates, after the faculty exit, I invite you to join me on stage for one final historic photo. Guests and family should exit to the lobby where students will join you after the photo. And I don't think you'll have any problem with this last request. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Welcome to the first class of EnMed physicianaires, the first class of physicianaires on planet Earth.
podium that exit to the lobby.